Welcome to the Will to Power podcast. I am your host, Bronze Age Midget. Before we begin, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a little comment. Helps me know that you enjoy this and also helps me in the algorithm so that more people can be exposed to the righteous, burning truth. Let's begin. So one thing I've noticed is leftoids have an obsession with hypothetical situations, very naive hypothetical situations. So they have this a priori assumption that equality is this primary virtue, for example. So if everything was equal, everything else would be great. And they'll create, other hypothetical situations like out of that. They'll say, well, there's never been real Marxism if you did it this way, libertarian Marxism, blah, 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 blah. And it's just these stacks of assumptions, right? These stacks of assuming everything goes correct with this, and then everything goes correct with this, and so on and so on. And it's really kind of lame. It's like LARPing. But in any case, I thought I would apply that same creativity, that same sort of ability to imagine an alternative. But I thought I would take it a step further. Now, I already had a video on right-wing socialism, and I encourage you to check that out, because I did lay out some programmatic and some pragmatic ideas about what that would entail. But for this, I wanted to apply it to something very pressing, and something where we could see a very clear distinction between what we have today, which is globo homo, and what we could have. So this is me positing ideas and throwing out ideas about how a hypothetical right-wing state, or a right-wing socialist state, a Nietzschean socialist state, would tackle cope19, the Wu flu. That's not so much crippled the world, but the world's response to it has crippled itself. So what could be done differently? Now let's just assume there's a right-wing socialist state. It's not that big. It doesn't have that much worldwide influence. It just kind of is there. Maybe it's, I don't know what we'll call this. Maybe like the Virtue Socialist Union, the Union of Virtue Socialist Republics, or I don't know. I'll come up with some more later. But so this is essentially the opposite of the ROG, right? The reptilian occupied government of the West, the globo homo. So how our approach would be entirely different, right? We're not stunting our population. In fact, we're applying a program of growth. So for example, everything would be different. In the West, what do you have, right? It's, you have locking people inside, stunting their immune systems, shunning them away from other people, instilling fear, instilling antisocial behavior. Again, like applying this sort of tactic where it's like a very fragile tactic, right? If you just keep everybody inside and away from germs, they'll be okay, which of course just makes them weak against the inevitable situation in which they will encounter germs, in which they will encounter somebody who has something. So our policy in the People's Republic of Mongolia is the opposite. We want to socially encourage behaviors that lead to a very vital and virile immune system, one which is strengthened through exposure. Right? We'd probably be done with this by now. If the world would just listen to me, we'd be done with the coof by now. It'd be like done. It would have ran its course, and this is how. So the reverse lockdown is the first thing. Instead of saying, oh, you got to go inside 2 weeks, we would say, no, you have to go outside. To get out, go in nature and get fresh air, right? It's good for you. It boosts your mood, and that in turn boosts your immune system. There's nothing, unless it's like hyper hot. You live in the desert, it's 105 degrees, okay. Still, don't be a pussy if you're a man, do it. But we'd be encouraging people to go outside, right? Get the exposure to nature, get the exposure to the fresh air, which is good for you, the sunlight, which I'll talk about in a moment, and encourage people to mingle. We also wouldn't be shutting down the economy, right? We wouldn't be hurting people's livelihoods, making them even more vulnerable, even more stressed, which is going to again hamper their immune system. Maybe the exception is office workers, right? We would say office workers are not essential. We can send them home because it's not good for them to be sedentary all day anyways. They they don't need to be spending all day inside. They're probably just shuffling numbers. So non-essential. Same thing. Western journalists, we'd have to quarantine them because any Western journalists in the Marxist culturist caliphate can only be a public health crisis. That's just going to create the public health care crisis. So Western journalists would be quarantined because they're a healthcare threat. Everything else would carry on as normal. It'd be the nicest place to be in the world because we'd just be like, what? We're just dealing with it. Y'all are wearing a mask indoors. Here we are. We're outdoors. We're having a good time riding a bicycle. Everything else would carry on as normal. In fact, maybe we'd even do events, right? We would have special beating the no cope19 celebrations. We would actually, we would invite the DJs to come and we'd have the dance parties. People mingle. They would, build themselves up that way. Have the music at 432 hertz. It's going to heal your vibrational soul. So it's all good. No masks either. No mask. We're not encouraging antisocial behavior. This is the handsome nationalist Confederate. If you're too afraid to show your face, you don't belong in the handsome nationalist Confederate. It's very simple. So no antisocial behavior, none of this global homo, bugman bullshit where it's like stay home and watch Netflix because of the coof. We're none of that. Celebrations, events. We're going to actually throw more events to get people outside. Another thing is we're going to have UBG. UBG, that's Universal Basic Gym. And social exercising. So let me explain this. With the UBG, because this is a healthcare crisis, we need to build more gyms. It's very simple. And we need to build them in a way that's accessible, right? We need to do, small outdoor areas that have the pull-up bars, the dip bars. Very simple, little weights that, you can't be stolen. But nobody steals shit in here anyways because there's a modicum of respect. Imagine that in a society. But these small little neighborhood gyms, very simple, very basic, encourages people in that neighborhood to go and work out. They have access to the means of physique production. They own the means of physique production. So pull-up bars, and it's very simple, very simple. And we got to build this. We need to do this all over the country, all over this territory, the caliphate, in neighborhoods, small scale, but each one is small. But we have them everywhere so that people can come together and exercise. Again, boosting their immune system, boosting their hormones through lifting. None of this keeping people inside stuff, closing down gyms. Nope, building more gyms. The next thing is we would absolutely mandate ball sunning and going outside and getting sun tanning, right? Sunbathing. Because this is the number one thing you can do to prevent a bad reaction to COVID. The number one correlation with people who have acute, hospitalizations, need to be put in intensive care, is that they have a vitamin D deficiency. So the simple way to solve that is to make sure absolutely no one has a vitamin D deficiency. So what do? You mandate the ball sunning, right? You got to go outside sometime during midday. And we would enforce this too. We would have a cop go to your house about 2 or 3 p.m., knock on the door and say, hey, it's 2:30. Did you sun your balls? Let me check. And if he didn't believe you, he might have to check. If they're not red, he's just going to hit you with a stick. Because again, there's no, we're not wasting money putting in prisons. We just handle the shit. We punish people right away, and then it's over. But there's going to be mandated ball signings because you got to get sun, and ball signing is good for you. And this again, this is the People's Republic of Manistan. This is a right-wing virtue socialist society. So we're doing that anyways, but now it's serious because we got the coof, and we gotta show the world what's up. Finally, one of the final things is we're going to close all the vectors of comorbidity. So all the vectors of comorbidity, things like fast food and fried food and vegetable oils, things of these nature. So no sugary drinks, none of that. And it's very simple. I mean, it's a public health crisis, right? We got, in the West, obesity is insane. 70% of people overweight, obese, makes them susceptible from dying from a cold or a flu or whatever they say it is. And so it's a problem, and you can't have that in a society. Not in the society we're building, because this is a new society. This is a better society. So we're closing the vectors of comorbidity and basically banning shit food, junk food, fake food. No McDonald's, no fried chicken. Sorry, LaQuisha, no fried chicken. So that's what we're doing with that, and this will, this itself would improve society, right? This is again compared to the West, where it's like lock you inside. Oh, you can order the shit food from McDonald's, have it delivered to you. You don't have to move at all. Just consume. Just consume for 2 weeks or whatever, 2 more weeks. And again, it's like, which one is going to produce the better outcome? Which one is going to produce healthy bodies? The global homo, anarcho-tyranny, post-COVID, post-secular security state, or the based kind of like sun-worshipping, neoclassical, Athenian democratic state led by a noble esoteric clergy class. Which one? Obviously the second one, right? No contest. Finally, we're gonna have instead of community vaccination, we're gonna have community supplementation. So essentially, what this means is we're gonna get people the vitamins and minerals they need, so that if they do catch the coof, they're going to be fine. So again, I already mentioned vitamin D, that's one thing. And we're going to do this in a very simple way, right? We're going to mobilize children, right? Children don't really have a problem catching the coof, whatever. They're strong, hopefully. I don't know, somehow in the West, I doubt that. But where we're at, the kids are strong. And we're going to mobilize them. They're going to set up lemonade stands. And in the lemonade, it's going to be fortified, right? It's very simple. It's like vitamin C, zinc, a little bit of magnesium, maybe some potassium, and it's going to be good. It's going to taste good, and it's going to help you, right? It's not like the West, where it's like the vaccination, the experiment. And this is the vaccination now isn't even a vaccination, right? It doesn't even prevent the spread of COVID. All it does is it supposedly weakens the symptoms. So now it's just experimental therapeutic. That's in the global homo West. What we have is, the traditional healthy lifestyle, or the neo-traditional healthy lifestyle, the futurist healthy lifestyle, the vitalist healthy lifestyle. So again, we got the lemonade, we got the special lemonade, little kids handing it out. They're like, hey, mister, you look thirsty. Did you supplement today? And you're going to say, well, I haven't yet, little kid. Thank you very much. Drink the lemonade, on your way. So that's what it is with that. Stark differences. And again, the left, what does the left have, right? They're like, well, we just need a socialized medicine. And that's their fucking solution, right? That's no solution. That's just a variation of what we have now. It's the same thing with a bureaucratic kind of pseudo-medical Band-Aid establishment was, sucking out tons of money. And that's what you have in the global homo westoid state. And then what do you have here? It's like you have a real community, right? You're not stuck inside. You're encouraged to go out and see each other. You have the state funding of events to make sure you're mingling. The music at 432 hertz healing you. The banning of, the real concern of public health. So it's like, make sure you're going outside. You have places to go outside. Banning the shit food. Very, very stark difference. And of course, we're going to have massive success, right? Because we're building a eugenic society. The West is a dysgenic society, which is going to succeed. So essentially, what would really happen, right? The coup would run through. Some people would die. Okay, some people are going to die anyways. But we end up with the anti-fragile society that didn't destroy its economy. Everything was open. You're not getting bullied by some mammy cop because you're not wearing a mask or because you had somebody over for Thanksgiving. We have a nice society where everybody's healthy. And of course, everybody's going to come there. Why? Who wouldn't? If you have that example pointed out to you. But of course, we got to be strict, right? We can't let everybody come in. Because a lot of these people that even they get fed up with the global homo, they still have a bunch of paused ideas and values. Right? We can't have that. Obviously, this is the handsome nationalist Confederate, so there's a no fatties policy. But we gotta even be more strict by keeping off this paused ideas and culture, because that's what the Westoids do, right? It's like they've destroyed Western society and they hate it, even though it's the society that fits their mindset the most. And then they escape to some place like Nicaragua or Mexico or somewhere else, but they bring those values with them. So they're like, they just basically complain that the place isn't like America, while at the same time they don't want to be in America. So you get that cognitive dissonance of the Westoid NPC, the runaway ant. So we can't let them in. We can't, because they'll infect it. They're infected with the fungus of global homo NPC thought. Strict immigration policy is what I'm saying. Obviously, no fatties, because again, handsome nationalists. But we're going to be a massive success, and because we can't let anybody in, that's going to generate a ton of cope and seething. So we got to expect that, the global homo is going to do everything that they can to sabotage this. But again, it's okay, because what is the global homo? It's this dysgenic society of NPCs. Sure, they got the mob, I guess. But, we're a eugenic society. We're a society of robust people at this point. We're not crippled by the coof. We don't have our immune system weakened by 2 more weeks of booster shots, 2 more weeks of staying inside. We're not raising a generation of autistic children. So this is how a right-wing socialist society based republicanism would deal with cope19. So if you enjoyed this podcast, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do next. So if you enjoyed that podcast, please do me a favor, take a moment, subscribe, share this with your friends, share it on 4chan, share it on any group chat where people are encouraged to post physique, and I will catch you next time.